SCDM.
Yes, Tracy knows me.
It's school-based decision making. School has one. I served on Geiger's for 4 years, and then Bryant's for 2.
I was going to do the presentation on anti-racism policy at the WASDA thing. I want.
Thanks.
Okay. Right. I don't see it. Good evening, everyone. I now call this board meeting of the Tacoma Public Schools for September 22nd, 2022 to order. Will everyone please stand and join me in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America Thank you. General Counsel Benro, would you please call the roll?
Yes. President Bobright,
Here.
Director Stroger,
Here.
Director McCullough,
Here.
Director Leon,
Here.
Director Keating.
Here.
Thank you.
Madam President, I think we missed the land acknowledgement tonight.
Oh, sorry. I was going to just do that. That's why I was getting ready, but I missed it, the order. Thank you for catching that. All right. Not good, starting off already confused. All right. Tacoma Public Schools acknowledges that we are on the traditional, ancestral, and historical lands of the Puyallup Tribe of Indians. We honor with gratitude the land itself and the Puyallup Tribe. This acknowledgement serves as the first step in honoring our nearest neighbors and partners who have inhabited this region since time immemorial and to whom we give thanks for allowing us passage to their lands. We shall intentionally create an inclusive and respectful partnership that honor indigenous cultures, histories, identities, and socio-political realities. Okay, so since we've already done the roll call, we will move on to adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion for the agenda?
I move to adopt the agenda.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is any thought, additions, or comments on the agenda? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Passes 5-0. The next item on the agenda is a special public hearing today for, let's see here, I'm gonna get the other piece of paper. So this is item number 6, and I'm gonna get this to come down a little bit. Okay, so Tacoma, this is a state of the Tacoma Public School District has determined that the property commonly known as Galt Middle School, 1115 East Division Lane, is not needed for district purposes in the foreseeable future and will not be required for the district's long-range planning for capital facilities. In April 2022, the district advertised a request for proposals to purchase and develop the Galt Middle School site. Through the process identified the Chaffee Building Group as the recommended buyer. In July 2022, the board adopted Resolution 2112, authorizing the superintendent or designee to negotiate a purchase and sale agreement for the Galt Middle School. At this time, the Tacoma Public School District will hear a public testimony related to the execution of a purchase and sale agreement with Chaffee Building Group for the sale of Galt Middle School. So I'm going to have, first, before we bring you up, any public up to speak, we're going to actually have Superintendent, do you want to have someone?
Ms. Alaver is here to give us a quick summary.
Joe?
Thank you. Quick summary is I'm happy to be here today for the final school district public hearing related to the proposed sale of Galt Middle School to the Chaffee Building Group, who proposes transforming the original historic school structure into housing units and creating what they've described as an urban village mix of commercial and retail tenants, additional housing units, as well as pedestrian pathways, public green space, and a community gathering space. Later in the evening, the board will be asked to consider a resolution approving the purchase and sale agreement between the district and Chaffee Building Group, which includes the following key points. First, that it of course meets the minimum sale price dictated by the RCWs based on appraised market value. Second, that the timeline leading to closure will allow for the feasibility process and getting through the city's development regulation agreement, conditional use permit, or a similar process before we close on the property and officially transfer ownership. And finally, that the Chaffee Building Group plan that gets through that process includes the reuse of the original 1926 structure and to officially close and transfer the property. Following the board's decision later tonight, if approved, the Chaffee Building Group will begin its feasibility period and begin working with the city. And actually, next slide, if we can, just to show a timeline in the process. They'll begin working with the city, a process that will include fine-tuning their initial proposal, as well as additional public outreach and opportunity for comment. While we realize that assuming this resolution is approved tonight, official transfer of the property is still many months out, tonight's hearing consideration marks a major milestone in this process. Deputy Mayor Ushka apologizes for not being able to make it tonight. Deputy Mayor Ushka, who we know who has had finding a solution for Galt on her wish list for a very long time, sends her regrets for not being able to attend tonight's meeting, but asks that I share the following statement for her. President Bonbright and esteemed members of the board, I remember when Galt was closed and the promises then made to the community. We all also recall the interceding decade of working to find a way to make this location an asset for the Galt community. I'm grateful to Superintendent Garcia, the board, and outstanding staff, both here and at the City of Tacoma, for working with authenticity and transparency to where we are today. as well as to the Chafee Group for their interest and inspiration to the community. Needless to say, I am in support of this board's approval to continue moving forward. I'm committed as a resident and city council member to do everything I can to support the success of this process, and do feel that this very much meets the promises made more than a decade ago and more. I sincerely wish I could be there tonight, and I'm grateful for your work and kind consideration. And with that, I turn the topic back to President Bondwright and welcome our members of the community here tonight to comment more on the proposed sale.
Okay, well, thank you. And thank Deputy Mayor Ushka, who has been a beacon of light for us all on this project. So, and thank you, Alicia, yourself. Okay, so we first going to turn to verbal comments, 6.1, and so those, and I'm going to ask in a second. I'm going to ask the General Counsel to read the names of those that have signed up. Please remember that we just to take 3 minutes, which is the limit. I think you'll see a buzzer over there, which will keep you on track. And we'll look forward to hearing from you. So, General Counsel, Monroe.
Yes, we have 7 verbal comments and 1 written comment, which was appended to the agenda. So the first verbal comment is from Tara Shate. Tara?
Hi, thank you guys so much for getting this far in the process. It's been really, really hard for our community the past several years. After Rogers Elementary closed, within 2 blocks, Galt closed, so it pretty much left our community with 2 abandoned schools and all the things that come along with it. We try to support everyone in our community, so everyone and everything that came along with that. We supported and tried our best all through these past years, but I really appreciate the thoughtfulness that Alicia and everyone with the school district has, all the steps they've taken with the community and keeping us very close to the process throughout the whole thing. It's been a really rough 10 years for us. I live right at the school, so it's been a really, really rough set of years, especially for kids growing up in the atmosphere that we have, but I really appreciate you guys, and I can't wait to move forward with the Chafee Group. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Tara, for your comments. Oops. Thank you very much, Tara, for your comments.
Next speaker is Lynette Shate.
Good evening, Chair, members, and Superintendent. My name is Lynette Scheit. I'm president of the Eastside Neighborhood Council and Dome Top Neighborhood Alliance. My family, many volunteers since 2008 have tried to turn this neighborhood around to make it look like, we live here. We want it safe, clean, and attractive. We've put in rain gardens. We put in community gardens. We have one element in the neighborhood we have no control over, and I'm sure you all know what that is. So Galt School has attracted very many criminal elements, and we know your school patrol very well. We know all the numbers to call, but we have nothing to do. So when this opportunity came up with the Chafee Group, and we were like, Christmas has got here. And so with the input of the community and all of us giving our opinion and what we think should happen here, I believe that the next step would be to hand the keys over to the Chafee Group and get the ball rolling and let us have our neighborhood back. Safe, clean, and attractive is what we're all after, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Next speaker is Patrick Murphy.
Hello. My name is Patrick Murphy. My wife Julie and I bought a house on East M Street about a block up from Galt Playfield just about 5 years ago. During that time, we've seen things go from bad to worse at the Galt School property. Theft, drug dealing, assault, even a number of serious fires. The Galt property was a decaying, derelict crime magnet that is a blight on an otherwise up-and-coming McKinley Hill neighborhood. We and our neighbors have had enough. That's why we fully support the Chafee bid for the Galt School property. Concrete, actionable plans for renovating the building first are a godsend for those who live nearby. I think we can all agree that bringing the Galt Middle School building back to life and doing so expediently is the best possible outcome for this neighborhood. The JV bid also includes other great things: a small grocery store, so needed here in the middle of a food desert, open public spaces for the whole community to gather, a range of housing types with mixed income workforce housing that gives a chance to people like teachers, police officers, and young professionals. Ladies and gentlemen, if a fair percentage of your decision today is reliant upon the opinion of McKinley Hill neighborhood itself, then know this: every single person that I have spoken to about this project wants the Chafee bid to go forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Alan Petrick Jr.
Thank you. I do not have an interest in either part of this. I am from an old Tacoma family. Some of you will know the name. And I have not lived here all my life, but I have a pride in Tacoma. And one of the things I've seen over the years is we lose some of our prime buildings. The buildings that we see every day that remind us of the city, make us feel good and part of a community. So I am happy to see the school, which is a beautiful building, being reused. My talk is not about the past or the problems of the present, but for the future. All of the parties, although the school district is selling, it is part of the city of Tacoma. There is also the group that is buying it to develop it. And all parties, let us remember we were in a very difficult economic situation in the country, in the world, and situations can change. So I am just suggesting that all parties think about this and will cooperate and be flexible throughout the whole period. And if they have to adjust and change things, they do it for the better of the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Christopher Pilch.
Good evening, President Bonbright and members of the board. I live over on East Morton Street, so I'm about 2 blocks from the school. And as you've already heard, my community and my neighbors and I were really excited about the direction you're going with this. We really appreciate the way that you've sought community input and really listened to what we what we're interested in seeing done with the school. As you've already heard, it has become a bit of an eyesore in our community just because it's fallen into disrepair and become a target for vagrants and graffiti and such. But we're really excited about the Chafee Group's proposal. I can't imagine a better bid coming in for a group that has so many resources and expertise in restoring the school. I think that will really honor the school's historic past and what the school was, but also provide needed housing units in our community. And I think you already intend to adopt the purchase or go forward with the purchase and sell agreement, but I would just encourage you, please don't let this project fall through. If there's stuff you can do within your power to make sure that it goes through, that would be much appreciated. We would be really discouraged if it fell through and then we were back to just waiting and hoping that something could be done with the school in the future again. We're really excited about the Chafee Group, really excited about the possibility of having retail. One of the things I love the most about McKinley Hill is that I can walk to a coffee shop or walk to top of Tacoma and get great nachos. So anything else like that that will bring amenities into our neighborhood will be a great plus in addition to having the school renovated. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming out tonight and sharing your views.
Next speaker is Sean Ross.
Thank you. I look forward to the movement of this progress, or the project forward. It'd be nice. I live on Strawberry Hill, so I'm not adjacent to the property. But there are, I'm concerned with there's a large number of trees on the property. They're mature. And I'm hoping the Chafee Group and others can make sure that those remain as long as they can, are healthy and stable and all that. So not a lot of large trees are in the east side of Tacoma. Most are in the north end, it seems like. So it'd be nice to keep those as well as plant new ones. So I appreciate that in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Next speaker is Damian Leake.
Hello. Thanks for allowing me to speak. I live across the street from Galt Field on East Harrison, and to kind of echo some of the comments of some of my neighbors, to say that the sort of neglect that has occurred at the school over the last decade has been a detriment would be like massive understatement. I myself see it a lot because I live above the field and I can see everything, and there is constant criminal activity going on there all the time on a daily basis. I have a big dog. I take him for walks around the neighborhood. It is pretty regular for me to find shattered liquor bottles, joints. I found a backpack full of needles at one point right next to the school. I say all of this to paint that bleak picture because this is what we've been living with as a reality for way too long. So whenever I hear the talk about, oh, you know, we're still months away from this being a deal, I am begging you to do this as expediently as possible because we're ready for the change. The Chafee Group has come in. They've been overly welcoming of community feedback, which is huge for us. So I would just ask that you please move forward with this plan as soon as possible, with as little strings as possible tied to, well, let's just make sure that this or this, like, trust them, trust the community. They're working with us. We're going to get together, and they've made it a point to express to us that throughout the process, there's going to be dialogue between us to make sure that what gets put in there is successful, improves the community, and gets rid of what has been a massive blight to the area where there's a lot of, you know, families, young kids, stuff coming up. We're tired of it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any more?
Our last speaker is Amy Van.
Good evening, members of the board. I live about 3 blocks away from Galt, and I find it interesting that we've been hearing a lot of comments about the bleak picture that is Galt, and I've lived there for close to 7 years now. And while I agree, I'm very excited at the idea of housing opportunities. As folks who are in positions of power in a very powerful institution that is the education system, I really implore you to think about why bleak exists. We know that it's systematic. It's folks who have been failed by educational systems, the lack of affordable housing, the lack of good earning wages that could keep up with affordable housing. So I'm here to just comment on, again, while I'm in support of housing, I caution the approach of using workforce housing and only centering it around the 80% area median income approach between the 80% to 120% AMI. That's problematic because, and if you don't mind, I'll nerd out a bit with numbers that I've found. Majority of the TPS families and students who attend your schools within a 2-mile radius of Galt are low income. That means they qualify for free and reduced lunch. And within the McKinley area, there's a 10% McKinney-Vento population. So while you think about who can afford this housing, it's certainly not TPS students and their families. And if you can think about your staff, your teachers who make roughly $65,000 at entry salary, that's at the very bare minimum of 80% AMI. So when we think about affordable housing, and we think about housing in general, and we question the idea around workforce housing, I really encourage you to be critical at that and think about your mission as members of the board who serve a huge population of really marginalized families who have for so long been pushed out and displaced. Galt, as a neighborhood, the area median income is only $42,000. So that's significantly below 80% AMI. Our neighbors will be vastly displaced by this approach of housing that is limited to only a specific population who makes around roughly $65,000 of a household of 2. So again, wildly in support of more housing, really critical of what affordable is. And you're in such a unique position to think about the future of what this type of housing could mean when it's affordable and accessible to your students and your teachers. So thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much for coming. Are those all the verbal ones? And I know that we also attached to the agenda for public if they're interested. There the attached are letters from 4 different individuals. I believe Amy, who just spoke, was one of them. So there's 4 additional ones in writing on this topic. Anything else, General Counsel? Anybody else? Or?
No, not at this time.
Okay. So before we open it up for questions from the board ourselves and stuff, I am wondering, Superintendent, if we can ask Alicia to come back up for a second, because I'm wondering if you can speak to some of what we've heard tonight are actually questions that I get a lot as well about this project, and it's really kind of around our role from here on, and you know how this is going to proceed in timing, because everyone keeps saying we want to be quick about it, which we know we definitely do. I'm wondering if you can speak to both timing and kind of process from here.
Absolutely, Ms. Lover. I think you have a slide up there. Maybe you can give us a little more context in depth about our legal requirements and how fast we can legally go, and your role as a board, and as our role as a staff at this point forward.
Right. Thank you.
Right, and I will say we've talked about many months, but those many months there is much action going on behind the scenes, especially with the Chafee Building Group, who in addition to doing their feasibility, will be starting the work with the city on the development regulation agreement, all of which is required in order to start construction. So this is with the goal of, as they're going through that feasibility process, making sure that they are fine-tuning the plan and what exactly, right now we have a pretty good proposal, but there's not the detail in it. So that detail is going to be fleshed out over the coming months, with the idea that once we hit closing and transfer of the property, that we're very close to being able to start construction. So during this time of feasibility, it's not like we're sitting around making lots of requirements that isn't moving the things forward. These are the things that need to move forward to be able to start construction. So a lot of concurrent work happening there. At this point, it moves into a discussion if approved tonight, it moves into a discussion between the developer and the city of Tacoma as they go through that process as far as what's required, since right now it is zoned single-family homes on that property if it's not a school, basically. And so in order to do the proposal they're talking about, they need to either get a development regulation agreement or conditional use permit or something like that. And that will involve additional public comment, and if it goes to the development regulation agreement, that will be voted on by the city council as well. So lots of process, and it all leads up to action. So it isn't just wait and in a year we're gonna wait some more. This is getting through that process with the city that is continuing. The Chafee Group's gonna be continuing to work and getting the input of the community as they fine tune that plan so that we can all hit the ground running once the closing happens and the property transfers. Is there anything else?
No,
There's a subtlety here that I think everyone needs to understand is whatever action you take tonight, if you choose to take action to approve our recommendation, the school district is not in a position at that point where it is making decisions at this next piece. We have done our work. We have worked with our community I've been a part of the district for 11 years, and every year we've been a part of this conversation. Ms. Laver, Mr. Aldridge, Mr. Williams have done a phenomenal job of trying to make sure that when we bring this to you, that our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted. It doesn't mean that there won't be more work, and it doesn't mean that we will be hands off. But at that point, there are decisions that are no longer within your purview. They are no longer in the staff's purview. And we all need to understand that. We feel a deep sense of responsibility to continue to work in partnership with the city, the Chafee Group, and the neighborhood. But there will be things that are no longer within our purview. And so I appreciate us pausing, and I appreciate the depth. And I want to publicly acknowledge Ms. Laver for all of the tireless hours. And it's not just Ms. Laver, but she has been a champion for us, and she will pass our gratitude on for others. We look forward to bringing this recommendation. We're not through, and I don't know how you will vote, but we are proud of the recommendation we are bringing you.
Thank you, Superintendent, and thank you, Alicia. Yes, that really answered the question. I think you did a nice job of explaining the process from here. I will open it up for the floor to see if any of the members have questions or comments that they want to make. This has been a long time in coming. It's a celebratory moment, but we'll do that later in the agenda. So, thank you. So I will officially, unless anyone has a comment to make, I will officially close the public hearing for on the Gold property. All right. Moving back to the regular board business agenda, item number 7, recognition of staff, students, and community. 7.1, approval of the recognition of the Gold Star Community Partner Award to Eric Wilson.
All right. Good evening, President Bombright, directors, Superintendent Garcia, beloved community. My name is Amanda Scott Thomas. I'm the director of the Community Partnership Office, and it is my pleasure to award our first Gold Star Community Partner Award school year. Little background, Tacoma Public Schools defines partnership as a cooperative relationship between students, families, schools, the school district, and the greater Tacoma community. Partners are committed to supporting student academic success and the success of the whole child. Partners work and invest in the education of our children and youth, whose future in turn will affect the quality of life in the entire Tacoma community. When it comes to student success, TPS recognizes that schools cannot do it alone, and in recognition of an investment of time, talent, and resources for TPS students, family, and staff, the Gold Star Community Partner Award signifies honor and thanks to a community partner who has made a difference by doing what's best for kids. Tonight, we have, under your current consideration, Eric Wilson. Schools can't do it alone, and there has not been a more valuable partner in the success of our students than Eric Wilson. In 2010, focusing on Tacoma students graduating, the Foundation for Tacoma Students was founded, and it was to build and strengthen the community-wide movement to help every student achieve success from cradle to college and career. As founding president and CEO of the foundation, Eric led the effort to bring community together and to work with focus and intention to help our students. In 2016, despite some of the highest poverty in Washington state, our graduation rates increased for Tacoma students from 55% to a record high of 89%. Tacoma graduation rates also surpassed the state average for students most in need. And even during this recent most challenging pandemic year, our students, staff, and families achieved an 88.4% graduation rate. Those numbers are a testament to Eric's dedication to our student, every single one. Even in retirement, he can't stop working for our kids. Eric has headed the community campaign for our most recent bond and levy measures in 2020 and in 2022 to a resounding success. Eric is a force. He's hardworking, he's a visionary, and most of all, he has an incredible heart. We have been so fortunate to have him by our side all these years, and we wanted to formally thank him for his service. We miss him a lot, and today is actually his birthday. Yeah. So we're going to give him a Gold Star Award on his birthday. Eric, will you come on up?
Yeah, Eric.
Thank you, board, and nice to see you, Josh. Thank you for having me. Just a few comments. It has been such an honor and privilege to work with this community and with this school district over these years. I was thinking about tonight a little bit, and I remember, I have to acknowledge a few people. Dan Bopel, who is not here, was such a great ally and someone who I've worked with over the years, and so miss him, and so tip my hat to Dan, and I've worked with Rosalind and Nora and Catherine and Amanda and so many of you here. When we started, I just remember, this was kind of 2009, 2010, the district just seemed to be sort of in a bunker mentality. It was just sort of putting out fires left and right and couldn't kind of get its head out of the bunker. And I just look at how you all have rebuilt the trust with the community and invited it in. And I think so many districts miss this boat of really opening it up to community and really realizing it's not up to you to do it all on your own. We've got kids that need us, 24/7, and the community can be there. And it was such a great honor to work with the community in this partnership, and to see when you work with the community, the resounding victories that they give you even at the ballot box when you need them. I can remember the very first campaign I did in Tacoma, going out and going to some pretty influential groups in town, including the chamber, and they would say, the only time we ever hear from the school district is during a campaign. Well, now they hear from you every day, and every day is a partnership. And I also remember in the very kickoff of Graduate Tacoma, we had an event with the mayor there, and I was standing at the back of the room trying to snap some pictures as I normally did at these events, and there was a kindergarten teacher, and I was so disturbed because she said something like, we were talking about what our goals were as we were getting things off the ground, and she said, I know at the first day of kindergarten which kids are going to graduate and which kids aren't. And that was disturbing. And I think you all as a district, you as a board, you as leadership, you as staff, have really transformed the culture of this district into believing in the potential of every kid. And every student every day isn't just a slogan, it's something that you've really taken to heart. So from my heart, thank you.
Thank you, Eric. It's appreciated. And happy birthday. Yeah, you want to take a pic? Is there a pic? Do you want to do a picture?
Please.
Okay. Come on up, Eric.
Your birthday star.
Madam President, as Eric's walking out, I would be remiss to not say a few words. And I know if Carla was here, she would want me to also say thank you. Eric is one of those people that we didn't even touch on the impact he has in our region, in our state, for the common good. He wants everyone to be better. Eric is strong-willed. For those of you who know, Eric is strong-willed. He's clear with what he wants. And as much as Eric would say that and acknowledge how important it is that we work with the community, Eric has helped us and helped the community work with us. And he's done that by focusing in on the things that we can achieve together and not by tearing us apart. And that is a unique skill set, especially in times where it's difficult to find things that we can do together over those times. Our students may never know who Eric Wilson is, but make no mistake, Eric, we touched on a few of the highlights, has impacted a generation of children. And he's fine without them knowing who he is. And that's what makes him special. He is always prompting others. And it was very important that we took a moment to recognize Eric, because he does the work that sometimes allows other people to be good. And that is no easy task. And in my humble opinion, he is truly a gold star, but more importantly, he is a whole child champion. And so on behalf of the staff, we want to also acknowledge Eric. So I'll let him sneak out on his birthday. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Superintendent, and thank you, Eric, again. And just know that your influence and your mentorship continues and will continue for years, because you've trained up a lot of people to ask for what they want and demand what the kids need. So thank you for making such a big difference and influencing so many of us who really look to you for what's possible So thank you and happy birthday. All right. 7.2, recognition of the purchasing department receiving the 2022 Achievement of Excellence in Procurement Award.
Good evening, President Bonbright and members of the board. The celebrations continue.
Woohoo.
I'll start with a little bit of background. In 1995, the National Procurement Institute Incorporated, NPI, established a program designed to recognize organizational excellence in public procurement. The Achievement of Excellence in Procurement, AEP, is awarded annually. This prestigious award is earned by those organizations that demonstrate excellence by obtaining a high score based on standardized criteria. The criteria are designed to measure innovation, professionalism, productivity, e-procurement, and leadership attributes of the procurement organization. The Tacoma School District Purchasing Department is one of 17 school districts and one of 171 agencies in the United States and Canada to receive this award. This is the 12th consecutive year the department has earned this award. The Institute for Public Procurement, NIGP, is a national membership-based nonprofit organization providing support to professionals in the public sector procurement profession. With over 3,000 member agencies representing over 15,000 professionals across the United States, Canada, and countries outside of North America, the Institute is international in its reach. The National Procurement Institute Incorporated awarded Tacoma School District's Purchasing Department with the 2022 Achievement of Excellence in Procurement Award. This is a notable achievement for the team, now led by Director of Procurement, Contracts, and Compliance, Mary Kate Richardson, and Purchasing Director, Shuri Estrada, which continues to be recognized for excellence. Tacoma Public Schools has saved millions of taxpayer dollars through innovative purchasing strategies and has brought positive public attention to our organization as effective stewards of public funds. It is with great pleasure that the Deputy Superintendent recommends that the Board of Directors recognize the Purchasing Department team for its commitment to professionalism and leadership of the procurement function. At this time, I would like to call up members of the purchasing team to the podium and ask that Shuri Estrada share a few words about this excellent and outstanding achievement.
All right.
And before she says those words, but wait, there's
Wow,
more.
you just-
I would like to share that this team is the recipient of this outstanding award.
Wow.
And when I say that they go above and beyond, and this is a recognition that's longstanding, and I'll call it a legacy, it is with pride.
Dynasty.
The
Dynasty.
dynasty. Yes.
In my notes.
So Cherie,
Yay.
thank you.
I just would like to start off by thanking my team. Without my team and a shared vision and a common goal to serve the students, we wouldn't get this award each year. For us, it's not about the award, but it's about the change and the impact that we can make doing our daily duties and showing our love and our pride for the students and saving the district money. And so my team is here. They solely deserve this award. They work hard every day behind the scenes, making things for students happen seamlessly. And when a crisis happens or we need to get to yes, that's what we strive to do. So thank you.
Fantastic. So do you guys want to come up and we can take a picture?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. Go team. Come on,
Yes,
team.
they do. You don't get a dynasty, 12 years and counting in that way. Double down. You had the Bulls and the Lakers together, and I know I'm on the microphone yelling.
That's pretty great. All right. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Madam President, as they're getting ready to sneak out the doors too, I think I just want to acknowledge also that we're so grateful to have them as a part of our team. You know, we didn't mention that some folks may remember that we were in the needs during COVID to secure. That was not easy work. To change our practices to allow us to focus in on MWBE and local companies, this is what this team helps us do on a daily basis. It's not just about finding materials. They help us change practices. They work with the auditor's office to make sure that we're in our legal requirements. But every dollar they help us save is a dollar that is put back into the classroom and into our kids. They are unsung heroes. And so as they sneak out, and yes, they are a dynasty, and we look forward to that, it's a high bar. And I also just want to acknowledge Rosalind Medina, who's our CFO that helps guide them. So thank you, team.
Thank you. All right. 7.3. This is fun. Recognition of the Communications Department receiving 29. Did you hear that? 29 awards from, let's see, now I've lost my place because I was so excited. There it is. State and national awards in 2022. So.
Yes, this is very, very exciting, and the talent in Tacoma Public Schools just can't be stopped. In 2022, the Tacoma Public Schools communication team received 29 national and state awards for excellence in communications. 13 of those awards came from the NSPRA, the National School Public Relations Association, which represents more than 1,000 school districts across the U.S. and Canada. The judging process is conducted by school communication professionals, and to receive recognition, districts must meet NPSRA's high standards. And the team received another 16 awards from WSPRA, the Washington School Public Relations Association. WSPRA has hundreds of members and is open to all 295 school districts in Washington state. Submissions were judged by another NSPRA-affiliated organization. Each application is reviewed by 3 to 5 judges, and scoring is based on a rubric system. I'm not going to read the full list of awards because there's way too many for one night, but there are a few that I would like to highlight. The team received a National Golden Achievement Award for the 2022 Facts and Information Levy Campaign, and 8 National Awards of Excellence in the categories of branding and graphics, calendar, writing, print newsletter, and video. And of the 731 awards applications submitted to the Washington State Public Records Association, there were 4 perfect scores, and Tacoma Public Schools won 3 of them. Those perfect score awards included 1 for branding and imaging and 2 for writing. In addition, the team received 7 Best in Category awards for calendar, communications, campaign, print newsletter, and video. These awards represent a true team effort, a commitment to the highest standards in communication, innovation, and creativity. The following individuals received awards: Alex Alderman, Rhiannon Berg, Nora Doyle, Devin Felix, Katie Jennison, Casey Madison, Kevin Medford, Catherine McCarthy, Ray McNally, Stacy Page, and Amber Slate. I am very happy and proud of this team, and we all know that Dan Volpel is not here with us this evening. This team, under the leadership of Dan, carried on this torch, and although he is not with us, the torch still burns strong, and we are filled with gratitude. And it is with pride that the Deputy Superintendent recommends the Board of Directors recognize the Communications Department team for outstanding achievement and its commitment to professionalism and leadership in the field of school communications. At this time, I would like to call to the podium members of the communication team who are here this evening and ask Catherine McCarthy to say a few words. Although they did not provide us with a physical artifact to recognize the award this evening, I want you to
There were too many, 29.
Yes, 29. There were too many. Team, we are proud of you. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. First I'd like to actually thank you guys and the leadership of the district for the commitment that you have to communication and the investment that you make into it. We have an amazing team. I have with us tonight Katie Jennison, Nora Doyle, and Ray McNally, and there's a whole host of other talented people. And what we get to do is so important. We know that our families are relying on us for information, but also for storytelling and for the work that we do to bring families together, to bring our community together, and it's an honor. I mean, I like to say amazing things happen in schools every day, and we have such we have the most fun job. Like, we get to go out and tell stories and spend time in schools, and it is a privilege and an honor, and we're thankful to be able to do that work, and I'm just incredibly grateful for the team that we have. And as Lisa said, Dan Vopel isn't here tonight, but he's definitely here in spirit. Dan, if you're watching, hi, thank you for your leadership and your belief in this work, and yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you, team. And you come on up, even though there's not something to be awarded. We need a photo.
And even though, Kevin, can you come up back from the booth?
Yeah, you can.
Yes.
When I looked behind me, I didn't say Kevin because he wasn't standing right behind me. Sorry.
I want to also just echo, Madam President, as the team escapes and Kevin goes back to doing the amazing work that he does. I think Dr. Nolan gave all the right words, and I'm deeply grateful for Dan Vopel, and I'm deeply grateful for the team. You know, there's that old saying that a picture says 1,000 words, or a team puts out, 1,000 pictures. Their work is not always well received sometimes when communications, they don't always have the joy of telling all the positive stories. But they tell stories with transparency, with integrity, the good, and sometimes not the good. And what I have learned from them is they come at it with a deep passion to honor our community, our learning community, and the city of Tacoma. And so I'm so grateful for our team. And 29 is pretty impressive, right? So thank you, team.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to item 8, Superintendent's Report. 8.1, School Year Start Update.
We have Dr. Forrest Greek and Miss Renee Trueblood here tonight to give us our, I apologize, I jumped. I went to a whole educator update.
Yep.
And I made a mistake, so I apologize. Ms. Trueblood is here to give us our start of the year updates for the Tacoma Public Schools. Ms. Trueblood.
Thank you so much. The start of school is very exciting, and we can't start school without the amazing staff that we have. And the amazing staff are here because of the amazing Human Resources Department, who's been working tirelessly to make sure that we have bus drivers and teachers and education support professionals ready to greet our students. And Human Resources exists to make sure that we have the best educators to support our students for student achievement. And the start of school was very exciting for us. If you take a look at the first slide, we commented at the last board meeting about the exciting rally that we had here at CAB to start school. And I'm excited that we're going to carry on that same energy throughout the school year. We have 5 rally days that are scheduled. And the cool thing about this is that they're not just for the adults, they're for our students, they're for our staff in schools and in those of us who support schools. So look out there. Hope that you join us on Friday, October 21st for our Tacoma Day, when we're going to celebrate clothing that shows our pride in our city and our community. So also with that, I wanted to take a look at our starter school year staffing. And the important thing that I think these numbers show us is how consistent they are. When you look at charts like this, you say, is there anything wrong? Is there something happening? Is there a story to tell in the numbers? And the numbers are pretty boring here, which is good. They're pretty consistent. I don't mean to say boring, though, to underestimate the amount of work that has gone into this. When you look at the number of hires that have happened to start the school year, 293. But that's pretty consistent with what we've done in non-COVID years. Our transfers are important, too, because it allows staff members to get to a school that's maybe closer to their home or where their kids are attending school. And retention is also really key. It says, is Tacoma a place that people want to work? And our numbers are telling us yes. These are our numbers for all of our certificated, administrative, and classified staff. And I think it tells a good story about Tacoma working together. The next slide tells us also about some of what we're seeing at the beginning of the school year. The staffing is still in flux right now. We have to look at our enrollment, and it's a bit of a puzzle with matching the number of students that are in classrooms with the number of staff that we have. And that process goes on really through September 28th, where we try to figure out whether or not we have to move teachers, combine classrooms, make more classrooms, and I'm just really impressed with the work that our school administrators and our human resources team are doing to try to do it with as little disruption. These are students' lives. They come to school, they get to know one teacher, and it's disruptive if they have to switch to a different teacher. It's disruptive for a staff member if they have to move. And so we're making every effort that we can to not have to displace or move staff. There's a great video that our amazing communications department did, and if we can just go to that one next, it's just a reminder of what goes on.
Why in some schools do students and teachers get shifted around after the first 2 weeks of the school year? It seems disruptive. Great question. There's a good reason for it, but it's a little complicated. Every fall on the first day of school, each class doesn't always have the exact number of students we predicted. After all, a lot can happen over the summer. Families move away, others move to town, and others relocate to new neighborhoods. Which means the number of students no longer fits our projected class sizes, making things a little complicated. So how do we predict student class sizes? The whole process starts in December when an expert demographer projects fall enrollments. They look at things like population, registration, birth rates, economic trends, housing, and more. These projections also include choice enrollment, class size limits, and other factors such as students moving up from lower grades. By February, we're planning how many teachers to assign to each school and each grade level. Then we recruit and hire teachers, so all the planned classrooms will have a teacher on the first day of school. Sounds good, right? Well, not quite. Remember how we said families move during summer break? Well, those moves mix up our class size predictions, and we have to straighten things out, even if it's not always ideal. After the first 2 weeks of school, the picture gets clearer. Sometimes small classes are combined, while overcrowded classes may force students to new classrooms. Other times, teachers will shift to new classrooms, or even a whole new school. Some years the shifts are minimal, other years they're more dramatic, but we're always trying to reduce the impact on our students, because in the end, the goal of Tacoma Public Schools remains the same: help students be successful every day.
And our student number is pretty close to what it was last year. One of the things we're trying to get ironed out before the 28th is we have seen a reduction in enrollment in our Tacoma Online program. Some students coming back to brick and mortar classrooms. So we should have a better number after the 28th. And I know that Stephen Diedrich, our HR Operations Director, will be updating you with a Friday report. So going on then to, we are still hiring. We still have a need right now to fill empty seats. And nutrition services, big need. School support staff, special education ESPs, those are our paraprofessionals who help in the classrooms, and substitute bus monitors and drivers. And these are great jobs. These are ranging from anywhere from $15 an hour up to $26 an hour, plus benefits. And we have a hiring bonus right now for all of these positions. And there's even a referral bonus. So those of you that work for Tacoma Public Schools, if you refer in one of these positions, you're also eligible for a bonus. So I encourage everybody who's watching, go to our webpage. And when you go to our webpage, the next slide will show you, we've got a brand new application that is streamlined, much easier to use, and it's powered by the same platform that a number of our other community government partners are using, NeoGov. So if you've applied for a job for, let's say, the city of Tacoma, you've already got a profile, and it makes it very easy for you to then apply for a job for Tacoma Public Schools. Credit goes to our HR and IT teams for getting this new application up and running. We're excited to have that to streamline our hiring process. So with that, I just want to extend again a very heartfelt thanks to our human resources team. I'm so amazed by these professionals who are so dedicated to making sure that we have the right staff in front of our students. We've got around 3,600 employees in Tacoma Public Schools. We're one of the largest employers in the city of Tacoma, and we do it with the partnership with our 10 different labor partners as well that we rely on to support all of our employees. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Trueblood. So I'll ask any of the members of the board if you have any questions around for Ms. Trueblood. Oh, okay. Director Leon.
Thanks for that presentation. I think the video is actually excellent for the public understanding kind of what the role is and the changing of classrooms. But so I just want to point out to the public, even though you called them, not very exciting or numbers, they are, I think, in many ways, with regard to the retention rate being pretty much very, very unchanged from pre-pandemic, and even during the pandemic, it didn't drop a whole lot, and the hires being back to where they are from beforehand. So, we can assume that the difference between retention and 100% would be the people that leave the district, but that is still a very good number. So, thank you for your department and your previous department for doing such excellent work in keeping our staff whole to help our kids. I think it's really good information to have for the public.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you, Renee. All right, Superintendent, we're moving on to 8.2.
Thank you.
Whole educator recognition.
At this time, I'd like to reintroduce Dr. Forrest Greek, who's going to be recognizing a very critical part of our staff, which is our nutrition services staff.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Garcia and members of the board. It is my pleasure to help kick off the Whole Educator Board recognition for the 22-23 school year with recognition of our nutrition services staff for this month. As you probably know, our nutrition services staff are crucial to the work we do in our schools, and they're vital to child development. They actually feed over 20,000 meals a day. That includes breakfast and lunch, and it's crucial to the development and crucial to the work that our students need and our staff supports. In addition to that, the staff really is sometimes the first staff member makes maybe a contact with one of our kids, and that's such a crucial opportunity for them to connect with a staff member. And so on behalf of Tacoma Public Schools and the Whole Educator Initiative, thank you to our nutrition services staff. There's a couple pictures on the slide. There's also an article internally and for folks to see, and we have a few of them that are tuning in live as well as we speak. So thank you to our nutrition services staff for the great service.
You nutrition services staff. Thank you, Forrest.
I want to thank not only Forrest, but I want to thank Gina and her entire team. They do amazing work, and I was out at Fawcett the other day, and it was almost like a competition where amongst a few kids where they were coming up on how many more pieces of fruit they had on their plate than the other kid in there, and so. And to see the excitement of some of them towards the staff and saying thank you it's very important. They're also going through some amazing training around fresh meal prep cooking and constantly working on how do we get better. And Paul Harris want to thank Paul and his team as well for reaching out to try to continue to help us. But it all comes down to those frontline folks that are there every day cooking. And we're excited about being back full time and really thinking about what's next for us. So thank you to that team.
Yeah, thank you to all of the nutrition staff and the administrators who support them. And I know they're appreciated at the school level as well as just across the district, so thank you. All right, item 9, staff report to the board. 9.1, benchmark report on early learning.
Tonight we have Miss Rochelle, we're all struggling with our words. Miss Michelle Raw-Lewis, who is our Director of Early Learning. I want to just take a moment to kind of recalibrate, since this is our first monitoring report of the year. For those that are watching at home or that may be new to Tacoma Public Schools, the board actually has a strategic plan that has individual benchmarks. And under each of those broad areas, early learning, academic excellence, partnerships, operations, and health and safety, thank you. We have individual goals and benchmarks under there. And you have actually identified what you call priority benchmarks. And so each year, during the year, we bring you a priority benchmark report. Now, all the data is available, and there's a calendar, so that's available for all those benchmarks online at the Tacoma Public website. But the priority benchmark, we give you 2 reports. One is how are we doing during the year, and then a summary report for each of those in there. But if somebody was at home and said, well, I want to know the other pieces, you can go online to the Tacoma Public website, and under strategic plan or how are we doing, you can see each of those benchmarks and a little story of there. And with that, Miss Michelle Raw-Lewis is going to give us our early learning annual benchmark report with the priority benchmark of preschool enrollment.
Good evening, President Brombright. Thank you for having me today and the rest of the board. This evening, I just want to also remind that this is the report that ended for June of our 2021-2022 school year. So as Dr. Garcia mentioned, that early learning is our district goal number 3. I'm going to advance the slide. That we are focusing on assessment, intervention, and preschool through 3rd grade levels to ensure early academic success. The next slide is really talks about our mission. Our mission is to support and serve our students in reaching their highest developmental, social, and academic potential. We create and maintain a developmentally appropriate environment for learning while empowering our families to participate and enhance their children's success for kindergarten. Right. Tacoma Public Schools is committed to early learning. We have a number of early learning classrooms. We have 8 ECAP classrooms, 20 Head Start classrooms. We have 1 ELL, 25 peer inclusion, 2 DHH, and 2 Montessori buildings that are providing Montessori services for kindergarten. Next slide, please. Our priority benchmark is around enrollment. As you can see, we are increasing our enrollment and coming back out of the pandemic, which is great. We are up to, from last year, 1,323 students that were enrolled for the 21-22 school year. And I can tell you, moving into 22-23, we are going to meet or exceed those numbers. Next slide, please. Our enrollment for ethnicity mirrors what it does throughout the district. And this slide just gives you a model of what that looks like for early learning. And in our next slide, we are really talking about our key findings. So as I mentioned, enrollment trends are moving back to our pre-pandemic numbers, which is great. We know that our families are feeling more comfortable and they want their children, their youngest learners, to come back to school. So we are very excited about that. We are continuing with our community partners and going back to in-person joint professional development, with our first professional development coming up soon this year for November. Last year we continued to have them. They were virtual. We did have good attendance, but we know that always learning is better in person, so we're excited to be moving forward. We heard the public and we heard the board when we talked about our enrollment process and really making it easier and more streamlined for our community. So we went from an enrollment to an application process so that families were knowing that when they were excuse me, putting in their application and qualifying for programming, once they were fully qualified, then they would move into an enrollment process so that families weren't confused about when they were enrolling for preschool or applying for preschool. That has been very successful, and we're very happy to have that within our Tacoma School District to support the families in their understanding of how our preschool process works. We also know that we have more applications than we have slots and seats for our preschoolers. So we know that we are in need to provide more additional preschool opportunities, and that is going to be one of our goals in the future. We are very happy to announce that it's been many years of coming, but that we are able to follow our student growth from preschool all the way through 12th grade, that our preschool data is now finally into our eSchool program and into Performance Matters. So this gives us a great opportunity to see the power of preschool. And our next slide was our next steps. Again, we're talking about trying to find more opportunities for our preschoolers. We are going to be looking for different funding opportunities and just looking very broad to our community partners as well as OSPI, DCYF, to be able to apply for more slots within our preschool. We are going to be introducing Transitional K. I should say we have for the 22-23 school year. Transitional K is offering us some additional space and opportunities for families. We increased our summer enrollment support so that we know when school starts, it's very important to have our kids in the seats and not having to wait for their enrollment process to be completed. And then marketing. We are working very closely with our PIO office to ensure that our community knows about our preschool, knows about all of the opportunities, and how to apply for services. Okay, and then I will close with that, and if there's any questions.
Just want to add a few comments that Michelle leads. Michelle is an amazing community partner, and so our goal is not to meet all of the preschool opportunities in the city of Tacoma. Our goal is to partner to make sure that there are not preschool gaps. And so as we talk about increase, we know there's a high demand, and there's plenty of room to offer more in that piece. But Michelle is very strategic and willing, and to say, look, if there's somebody else that can fit this need, then that's great. And so we actually move programming based on those needs. And so if you go onto our Tacoma Public website, there are also, you'll see, well, look, there's other opportunities. So we work with Child Care Aware, and to make sure that they are a great referral service. We talk about some of our other partnerships in there. And so if you're a family or have a neighbor or somebody and they're like, yeah, but I'm just not sure, great. Let us try to help you connect to someone that can make that for you. So I just want to add a little context there.
Thank you. I see that Director McElroy would like to have a question.
Hey, Michelle. Thank you for all the work that you do. And like Josh said, we are in a child care desert here in Pierce County. In Lakewood, our neighboring school district, they're like the highest impacted district for early learning in that desert for parents and families. But I think there's a new term that people just don't understand. I was wondering if you could tell folks what transitional kindergarten is.
Yes, I'd be happy to. Transitional kindergarten is an opportunity for families that would not have another opportunity for a preschool program. So if you are a family and that you're not qualifying for our Head Start program or our ECAP program, income-based, or if you are not wanting to go into one of our community partners for a child care or cannot afford one of our community partners, then Transitional K is an opportunity for you to have a preschool experience within Tacoma schools. So it's really serving that gap of families that do not quite qualify for our federal and state programs and can't afford our traditional community partners tuition.
And the age for this transitional kindergarten program?
It is for 4-year-olds.
And thank you for bringing that up. And there are requirements with each one of these programs. And so sometimes folks will get, and it's really hard as a family member, you're like, well, wait a second, this is different. And there's hours that sometimes are different, and there's requirements that are different. And Michelle has to navigate all that and help in there. So thank you for bringing that up, because there is a very specific age for that group in that program.
So I think for families that are out there and wondering, is this something that might be for me? It is for 4-year-olds, even though preschool is often for 3 and 4-year-olds. So this is just 4-year-olds. And is it at every school, Michelle?
Not yet. So currently we have transitional K that is in 3 of our elementary schools, Northeast Tacoma, Skyline, and Fern Hill. And we also have some of our transitional K slots that are in our Montessori programs. And those transitional K slots helped us to be able to eliminate the tuition barrier that was for limiting some of our other families that were neighborhooding kids.
Okay. Does that answer your question? Anybody else have any questions for Michelle? Michelle, thank you so much, and the team for designing and developing and implementing such an amazing program. You've got a couple of early childhood folks on here who always got our eyes on this program.
It's a tough
I'm
audience.
sure she's
Michelle's
like,
up there.
Michelle's going, do I have to talk about
Michelle
early
is, we feel very confident with Michelle, so thank you for supporting us and help building a better ecosystem. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you
so much.
Yep. Okay, item number 10. And just so you know, school board members encourage public participation and your civil input is appreciated. But rather than reading all of this, do we have anyone, we have 2 ways of presenting to the board. One is in person, verbally, and the other is written comment. And do we have anyone here today?
Not tonight, beyond the, what we heard from Gold.
Okay, so I won't go through the whole how many minutes you get, but what I will say that is if you are interested in the future, please email the board at board@tacoma.k12.wa.us if you want to submit something in writing before a board meeting. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next board meeting. All right, item number 11, the consent agenda. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
I move to adopt the consent agenda.
Are we all struggling tonight?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Does anyone have any comments, questions about the consent agenda before we vote? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The consent agenda passes 5-0. Okay, moving on to item number 12, policy matters. We do not have any policy matters tonight. So we're going on to the financial report, which is item 13. And the district's next quarterly financial report is planned for November 10th, 2022. Monthly financial statements, however, can be found on the district's website at https://www.tacomaschools.org/departments/business and finance. All right, curriculum and instruction, which is item 14. We have none tonight. And now comes the list of business matters. We will start with 15.1, approval of early childhood education and assistance program, ECAP, continuation grant.
The Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning recommends the Board of Directors approve the Early Childhood Education and Assistance Program Continuation Grant from July 1, 2022 to June 30th, 2023 in the amount of $1,814,817.37. Funding source, early learning.
All right. Do we have a motion?
I move to adopt item 15.1.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions, comments, or concerns about this item?
Comment, there's never enough money to pay for the work that we do in early learning. So I appreciate this board and our budget and allocating funds for ECAP.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right, so I will call the question. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes 5-0. 15.2, approval of contract number TSD-22-196 with EduPoint Educational Systems for new student information and enrollment system.
The Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning recommends the Board of Directors approve the contract number TSD 22196 between EduPoint Educational Systems and Tacoma Public Schools from October 1, 2022 to August 31st, 2027. Funding source, technology.
I move to adopt item 15.2.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments, questions about this item?
I have a question.
Okay.
I feel like I asked this, and maybe I'm blurring things together. I feel like we've talked about this before, and how could you just explain a little bit more behind? Yeah, you're already in
All
my
the
head.
above.
Yeah, thanks. I'm sure that was
Yes.
very clear.
So our current student information system, right? Everything we load in for every student, every course, every grade, attendance, right? We put in our report cards out of this, health contact information. We've had our original one since 2012. There are definitely a change in needs, how we support and serve. It was starting to age a little bit, so we went out for RFP. You had Erica Flatham came and presented, I believe, earlier in the summer, and just kind of walk through what EduPoint or the Synergy product brings. And so that's what we're bringing to contract now.
Thank you for interpreting my very unclear question.
Yes.
That's all right. It's been that kind of a day. All right, so it's been moved and seconded. We've asked for questions. So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Any abstentions? Okay, passes 5-0. Thank you, Zeke. All right, the next one is 15.3, approval of write-offs of uncollectible debt.
Good evening. The Chief Financial Officer recommends that the Board of Directors write off $108,199.77 in outstanding uncollectible debt for facility rentals, payroll overpayments, lost and stolen equipment, SEB deductions, and district vendor payments after all attempts to collect these resources have been exhausted. And if I could just say a quick item about it. So we rewrote some policies recently and regulations recently regarding our write-offs of debt. And at the same time we were doing that, we made some improvements to some financial systems and found some spaces within our system where there were debts that hadn't been collected upon or that had gone past a typical expiration period. And so we have been trying to scrub through that data and ensure that we understand what all that data is, work on making any collection efforts that we could possibly make. And then we've now exhausted all those attempts. And so we are bringing this forward as sort of a one-time cleanup. And then from this point forward, we will continue to make an annual write-off of our debts, our uncollectible debts, but it should be a much smaller amount. So this is really just a cleanup of one time that it wouldn't be such a large amount. And then we'll see smaller amounts moving forward in the future.
Okay. Could I have a motion?
I move to adopt.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, so thank you for explaining that. Does anyone have any more questions for Rosalind about this issue? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes 5-0. Thank you, Rosalind. Item 15.4, approval of addendum number 2 to extend CH2O Incorporated's boiler chilled water chemical treatment service for 2 additional years.
Yes, this is one of many contracts that we outsource to reduce costs for the district instead of conducting those resources or obligations with our staff internally. The Chief Operating Officer recommends that the Board of Directors approve addendum number 2 to extend CH2O INC boiler chilled water chemical treatment service for additional 2 years for a total estimated cost of $279,022 excluding sales tax for this 5-year contract.
Okay. Do you have a motion?
I move to adopt item 15.4.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Does anyone have any questions for Christopher about this? Okay. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Anyone nay? Any abstentions? Okay, and it passes 5-0. All right, we're moving on. Thank you. Well, we're moving on to other business. Adoption of resolution number 2114 regarding transferring a portion of the Blueberry Park Panhandle to Metro Parks.
Almost 4 years ago, we sold 18 of 23 parcels to a developer. The remaining 5 were to be transferred to Metro Parks. This is a continuation of that process. Obviously, we had some delays on our commitments due to COVID. The Chief Operating Officer recommends that the Board of Directors adopt Resolution 2114 to transfer a portion of the Blueberry Park Panhandle to Metro Parks for the amount of $44,000 to be deposited to the Debt Service Fund and/or Capital Projects Fund.
Does anyone have a motion? Anybody moving this?
Yes, I would like to move this.
All right, it's been moved
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and double seconded. Does anyone have any questions for Chris about this? Yeah, it's been a long time in coming, and I know it'll be great. Metro Parks will do great things with this property. All right. Calling the question, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
We're looking at a roll call vote for this one.
Oh,
President
okay,
Bombright.
it's a resolution. Should have
Yeah.
caught that. Thank
So-
you.
President Bombright, how do you vote?
Aye.
Director Strozier?
Aye.
Director McElroy?
Aye.
Director Leon?
Aye.
Director Keating?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Passes 5-0. Okay, great. Well, the next one's also a resolution, so just remind me. All right, 16.2, adoption of resolution number 2115, authorizing the sale of Galt Middle School campus to the Chafee Building Group.
I was going to make some comments, but
Yeah.
I'm just going to let it be tonight.
Okay, thank you.
The Chief Operating Officer recommends that the Board of Directors adopt Resolution Number 2115 to authorize negotiation of purchase and sale agreement for Galt Middle School in the amount of $1,962,000 per RCW 28A.335.240. The net proceeds from the sale will be deposited in the debt service fund or the capital projects fund.
Okay,
I move to adopt item 16.2.
all right.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We had a public hearing. We've had several public hearings. We had one tonight early on, first thing on the agenda. So anyone have any additional questions at this point? Hearing none. All those in
Yep.
favor?
Resolution?
Do it.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Almost.
Almost got through it.
President Bombright, how do you vote?
I'm voting aye.
Director Strozier?
Aye.
Director McElroy?
Abstain.
Director Leon?
Aye.
Director Keating?
Aye.
Okay, passes
Passes
4-0. Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, on to board comments and reports.
You 16.3.
Yeah,
Oh,
one
shoot, I guess we better do board goals, huh? All right, 16.3. Go ahead. Board annual goals and objectives for the 2022-2023 school year.
And the district's general counsel recommends the board publicly communicate the draft annual goals and objectives they formulated for the 22-23 school year.
I move to adopt item 16.3.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Thank you very much. And, for the public's perspective on this, these are goals that the board each year looks at what's important to us based on our priorities, based on benchmarks, and the goals that we're working towards as a board to move our agenda forward for the kids and staff. And so every year we work on this, and I actually printed it out, but I did not. Hold on, I'm going to pull it up because it didn't bring it. And so we had a retreat in August where we talked about what the goals would be for this current school year, and we're aligning a lot with what we did last year, but really focusing on specific topics. So under racial justice and equity, which is one of our lead areas, a focus is going to be on environmental equity, reviewing policies that we already have in place connected to environmental sustainability, and increase our capacity for environmental stewardship. So that's going to be one. The second one is around social emotional well-being and mental health, and the focus is on mental health. And we've got two items in this one. We're going to work with staff to clarify the long-term vision and sustainability plan for continuing access to school emotional supports for students and staff once the ESSER federal funds end. And the second one is partnering with governmental entities, private industry, and the community to address and enhance mental health supports for our students. And then the last goal, and all of these are meaty, and we actually have really worked hard to make sure we're moving forward on these goals this year. The last one is family and student engagement, and the focus is on connecting in new and expanded ways. And we have two approaches we're taking this year, and we are all very excited about this. One is partnering with community organizations to hold 2 or 3 family and community coffee chats around the district. So working with the partners who are already bringing people together so that we can be invited to come in and meet with folks and learn a little bit about what the community thinks about different topics. And the last one here is to hold a series of student listening sessions like we did before on mental health, and ideally like we did last time, one at each middle school and high school. So that is on on our task to do this year. And again, well, that's not necessary. So those are the goals, and does anyone have any comments or questions on those? Okay. So all those in favor of adopting these goals for this year, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone on noes? Any abstentions? Okay, we have our board goals. They passed 5-0. Thank you. Now on to 17, board comments and reports. Who wants to go first tonight?
Me.
You do, good.
Love going first.
Director McElroy, jump on in.
All right, so I've been super busy. Like last time I told you I was busy reading. This time I was busy out in the community. I had a meeting with Michelle Raw-Lewis from Early Learning. We are in basically like a phase 2. It's kind of like a CAP plan, but for early learning. And this year they get to basically be audited and tell them that they're awesome because our early learning is the best. So hands down, they're going to do great. I'm rooting for them all the way. I'm grateful to be the director over early learning as a kneecap teacher. It's kind of cool. Next thing, I went to the Mount Tacoma football game. We're just going to pray for Mount Tacoma. But I'm rooting for their cheer team. They're doing a great job out there. They have 16 girls and a young man too. And they really started from 8 kids last year. And they built this really robust program. The school's really feeling it. There's a lot of pep in their step. Proud of them. Lastly, I went to visit Stafford, and I spent a day in an ECAP classroom, which is kind of hilarious because that's my day job. And then as a board director, I was like, as a board director, I'm also going to spend a day in an ECAP classroom. And I spent a lot of time getting to know their norms at Stafford. I learned about their Lion's Den, which is kind of like World Vision for families, but happening in a school here in Tacoma. So we're doing awesome stuff. We're helping families get connected to resources. And their whole team, they work really close. They're a close-knit community. And I learned from some of the kindergarten teachers that they all get together and do these professional development, like art projects. So like throughout Stafford Elementary School, you can find these murals and these mosaics hanging from the ceilings, posted on the wall. And every single teacher is really involved with making Stafford a home for kids. So I'm really grateful for all my board assignments because I told everybody this is going to be my best year ever because these are all the schools I already know. So thank y'all. And
Well,
that's my report.
There you go. Thank you. All right. Who would like to go next?
I can go.
Okay, Director Strozier.
I'm gonna be brief.
No,
we
he-
haven't had J-Mac.
No, not this
Nope.
week.
Nice try.
Next month, maybe.
I will share. I'm really excited to start moving around, man, and getting back and visiting some of our schools. I've seen at multiple sporting events the return of school spirit, the return of pep, the return of energy to our sites. Like it's amazing to see. I mean, Saturday at 4 p.m. I went to Lincoln versus Camas, and that was a good game. Of course, the Apes came out on top. And then I went right after
Go
that
Apes.
to a 7 o'clock game, Stadium versus Silas.
Ooh.
Now, check this out. Stadium versus Silas at Stadium Bowl. It's getting kind of cold and dark earlier and mosquitoes. We had kids in the student section. They had a whiteout. I'm talking about no shirt or sleeveless shirts or A shirts in the cold, screaming, yelling, high-fiving. I mean, that is what I live for, man. Just seeing kids in or students in student environments and thriving with their friends, meeting friends, watching football, eating nachos, spilling stuff all over the place. It's just a great sight to see. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the school day is like. But I definitely have my experience with football games this year. So, yeah, that's it for me. I'm looking forward to getting into the buildings this coming weeks.
Great, fantastic.
I'll go.
Vice President Keating.
I have also am looking forward to making time to go and visit. Actually, tomorrow morning, Superintendent and I are visiting Raymond Hall, which is one of my board assignments this year, to learn more about the program and how that works. And I feel like my heart is a little full because I know this was very important to former board director Andrea Cobb, and so I feel like I'm picking up a mantle, an important one. And then also next week, Superintendent and I and Rosalind Medina are going to DC on district business, and I've been in meetings around legislative, like just getting ready for legislative priorities and agendas, and the process of the Maritime Skills Center as it continues to develop really excitingly. And then something that happened last night, there was a revealing of some bike boulevards through the city of Tacoma last night. And it's part of their mobility, the city of Tacoma's mobility plan that I think they launched or established in like 2017 based on equity and prioritization. And so there's going to, not all of these are complete, but there's a bike, they're calling it a boulevard. It's not my word, it's their word. On Fawcett, so on J Street paralleling MLK and Fawcett Avenue. There's also, I think the J Street one is still, has not been constructed or is in the process. And then on South 27th is going to also get a major facelift. And I used to like have my toes in this a little bit more when on this traffic and safety committee. So I was really excited when I used to be on that. I was really excited to hear about this and the partnership with Safe Routes to School. And I know Pierce Transit is part of this as well as Downtown on the Go. So it's like this really, and some other community groups like Second Cycle and Vemo Fem, and there's another group. But anyways, it's really exciting. Having someone who, married to someone who commutes on a bicycle year-round. Cars are very dangerous and not really considerate of bicycles, so the city increasing safety for our community members who pedal, not on a motorcycle. I think I need to make that clarification. It's just really exciting to see the work that's going in.
Great, thank you for sharing. Director Leon.
Thanks. The most exciting thing, well, it's a lot of exciting things, but the Mount Tacoma School-Based Health Clinic opened last week, but it's been open 2 weeks now, and they're seeing lots of kids, really helping them with their healthcare needs, school-based sports physicals, in addition to acute care visits. It's just marvelous to see the teamwork from all of our partners, along with all of our staff, come together there. The principal, Mr. McCulkin, Kara Koskreff, the clinic nurse, the school nurse, everybody working in tandem. So it's going to just help that community immensely, add on to now our second school-based health center. So just want to congratulate everybody on the team that has been working with that. And doing I'm still doing a lot of sideline medicine work with regard to a lot of games and things like that. So excited to help those kids there and have residents come help. There's been we've had some trainers that have been helping us out a lot more now lately too. So we're going to try to keep things as safe as possible, and the excitement of being at any kind of event. The pep bands were going at Mount T and at Stadium, and all the kids are having a lot of fun, and good work to everybody.
Okay, thank you. Well, I guess I'll round it off. Won't be a surprise. I'm going to talk about JMAC. But actually, this month, just a couple weeks ago, we had our September meeting, and actually there was some exciting news for the public. If you have not heard yet, Pierce Transit has launched Youth Ride Free, and it's for 18 and under, so it includes you if you're 18-year-old, because obviously our high schoolers turn 18 often during the school year, so all of a sudden we don't want their bus pass ending. So it is free bus passes, and it's not just Pierce County, it's also King County and I think Thurston County. So, if you're a youth, you can ride free on the public transportation. So I believe we're still giving everyone ORCA cards.
Yes, and if you don't have an ORCA card and you're a Pierce County student, you can use your ASB card or your student ID. And if you do not have a student ID card, you are very welcome to go down to your front office and you can get a student ID card. And so if you don't have an ORCA pass, you could just show them your student ID card.
Right, perfect. So just so everyone knows, that is up and running. So that should free up a lot of families to go places, and it'll certainly cut the cost.
President, I have one thing to add to that.
Please.
City Council Member Walker was here on the first day of school, also helping spread the word. And the other thing that will happen October 1st is that this will also extend to our ferry system. So the same thing, but on our ferries, which is going to be, it is not cheap to ride our ferries. So.
So, and then that was one topic of JMAC was learning about that and talking about how we could help spread the word. And the second one was an intensive discussion around the Pierce County effort to end homelessness, which is campaign End Homelessness, which is, comprehensive plan, that's what it is. Pierce County Comprehensive Plan to End Homelessness. And Heather Moss, the director of the department, the Pierce County Human Services Department, came about 3-4 months ago and talked to JMAC about a vision. And it was very impressive, and we were all like, sounds good. And then she came back a couple weeks ago and blew our minds with how much had been accomplished, how thoughtful and creative and innovative this plan is. And there was a lot of enthusiasm around the JMAC table, all these elected officials just actually starting to get some hope and realizing that we could actually make a difference in our community. And so I know that the next step is the plan needs to be funded, and it is an insanely high number. But there's a plan for the plan. So I think the Pierce County Council will be taking up in October how to fund it. But just I think it's important for the community to know, because that the homelessness situation is both tragic and sometimes upsetting for families who have it outside their homes or feel threatened by the camps. But this is a very realistic and positive approach to the mental health needs and the medical health needs and the educational needs of the folks that find themselves on the street. So I'm really proud to be in this community and grateful for Heather and the department, the Pierce County's effort on this. So that was part of the JMAC meeting. All right. Anybody have anything else? Oh, yep. Go ahead, Director McElroy.
I totes forgot. This month, the rest of the month, is Co-Create to Recreate at all of our metro parks. And they're trying to bring out the community, get involved, and say what in the community is working for you, what's not working for you. They want to hear your voices. And there's free dinner at most of them. And there's live entertainment because there's going to be lots of kids running around and acting silly. And then also the neighborhood councils have CCOT. They're having their 30th annual, their Pearl Annual, on the 24th. And it's to celebrate all the different neighborhoods and them all coming together. And they're highlighting certain neighborhoods and what's going on there. And I think just, as y'all can't see if you're watching online, this room is empty. And a lot of your neighborhood councils, city councils, and board meetings like these are empty. But there are places for you to make your voice heard, get involved in your community, and feel more comfortable. This dais might seem intimidating, but going to your local Star Center, People Center, East Side, and the Center at North Point, they want to see you, and that starts today.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Forgot about that.
Oh, no, thank you for sharing. Okay. Anybody else? All right. Well, just the announcements of the next regular board meetings. We have October 13th will be the next time we'll be together at the dais at 6 p.m. for a business meeting. On the 20th, we're having a study session, October 20th, and October 27th is our second business meeting of October. So we'll all be ready for that. All right. So if everyone else is had their say tonight, I will adjourn this meeting, and everyone have a great weekend.
Go Apes.
I already said it. Hey, don't leave. We need to sign. Yeah, we need some stuff to sign.